I absolutely was not surprised in any way that LeBron was lighting up the Heat in Game 5. No surprise whatsoever. I mean, you're talking about LeBron, still relatively close to the peak of his career in terms of his physical abilities and skills, taking on an undermanned 5 seed team from the East in the Heat. It's a closeout game. Like, you would expect LeBron James to come out and light him up. And he absolutely did. Like, he was killing Miami. Just killing them. Like, this felt like this should be a signature marquee performance in the finals career, the playoffs career, the NBA career of one of the true icons of the game in LeBron James. That's where this was trending. That's where this was heading. He was getting to the hole at will. He was lighting it up from three. He was unstoppable. And as is so often the case with LeBron James, which is what makes him so frustrating to me, and it makes it so irritating when I see people that have the gall and the balls to try to suggest that he's the GOAT, as he so often does. He's LeBron James for the first 46 to 47 minutes. And then in the last minute or two, when he really needs to nut up and clutch up, when he needs to be that true alpha, he becomes LeBitch James, which makes him basically LaFraud James. And it's so damn irritating, it's so damn annoying. So you can also imagine my complete and total lack of surprise when you get to the end of the game, in the last couple of possessions for the Lakers, LeBron's deferring, like he always seems to do. I'm going to make the good, smart basketball play. And if my teammates don't make the open shots, well, that's on them. That's on them. Then I can make them look bad. But I've avoided the failure. I've avoided the pressure in the spotlight and the risk associated with me actually having to nut up and take that big-time shot. And he did it again. And pathetically predictable as it is, what's even less surprising are all the LeBron stands and all the morons taking to social media and in media and sports in general, sitting there trying to defend the decision. Well, he passed to Danny Green. LeBron was triple, quadruple covered, and Danny Green was wide open, out at the top of the key. Bullshit! You are LeBron mother effing James. Up to that point in time in the game, you were 17 of 20 from the field. Let me emphasize that again. 17 of 20 from the damn field. Your team is down one. This is not only a game-winning situation. This is not only even a series-clinching situation. This is a championship-clinching, title-winning situation. And in that key moment in time, when you have been absolutely lighting it up on the Heat, you've been getting in their ass all night long. Now you sit there and not only don't take the last shot, but you never had designs on taking the last shot. And it's clear based off of the offensive approach. It's once again, I'm going to drive, kick, and penetrate because I can't stand the Heat when it matters most. I'm going to get the F out of the kitchen and let me defer to the open guy. Why in the hell are you passing to Danny Green there? Garbage Green. This is not Spurs Danny Green. He is terrible. Have you not been watching your own team in the finals, LeBron? The hell are you doing? I don't care if Danny Green is open by 20 feet. You don't pass him the ball. At least, if it was Anthony Davis, I would say, at least he deferred to another superstar. Still the wrong decision, but I could at least make some type of argument for that. But it wasn't. He's deferring to a role player whose role apparently now in the league is to be hot garbage. And I know the people are going to come out here and they're going to say, well, Jordan would defer to Paxson or Kerr. I explained how stupid that comparison is on social media last night, and I'll do it again here. You talk about the deferral by Jordan to Paxson in Game 5 of the 91 finals. Paxson was a better role player at that time of his career in terms of a more consistent lockdown shooter. And when you get to 93, like that whole play design was a little different. Never mind the fact that Jordan basically had scored all the points for the Bulls in that fourth quarter on the road in Game 6 against the damn Suns. And even with Paxson being at the end of his rope there, this was a guy that was an established, trusted, and still very trusted knockdown, spot-up shooter in those big situations, even statistically in that 92-93 season, even though he wasn't that great. And as far as the whole deferral to Kerr, it's a big difference there because the game was tied. It was Jordan's idea and design that was smart because he fouled Steve Kerr wide open for like a 16, 17-foot damn jump shot. That's not sitting there chucking it out deep to freaking Danny Green. I mean, let's put it this way. Let's pretend this is Game 7 and everything is on the line. And you've got one guy to take one shot to win it all or lose it all. Who do you want taking it? Do you want Danny Green or do you got freaking LeBron James? Exactly what the hell I thought. In that situation, LeBron should be waving everybody else off. Don't let another defender by me, you dumbass. And I think that was Danny Green, as a matter of fact, that did that. Don't be trying to set me any types of picks or screens or anything like that. Get the hell out of my way. I'm coming, and I'm going to take that last shot, period. And if you're going to say, well, he was double, triple teamed, and here's Adebayo coming in for the block. So what? LeBron was so hot in that goddamn game, and he's one of the icons in league history. I'm still taking my chances with him significantly closer to the freaking basket. I'm not sitting there and having to be dependent on Danny Green actually being able to make an open shot. I'm not going to be dependent on Markieff Morris to have to make the right pass. Like, even that is ridiculous. You shouldn't be in that situation because your alpha should actually play like an alpha. And I know here come the Kobe fans sitting there and saying, that's right, he does not have the Mamba mentality. LeBron lacks that killer instinct. Sit down and shut the hell up. How quickly you forget. Kobe didn't always have that Mamba mentality. Kobe wasn't always an assassin in the clutch. So stop pretending like he was. He let Raja Bell punk his ass out in the playoffs back in that series against the Suns when they had a 3-1 lead. Look at his performances in the 2008 NBA Finals. Shit, look at his performance in Game 7 of the 2010 Finals. Was he 6 of 24 from the damn field? He was hot garbage. Kelly, Brick City, bitch. No. Kobe at times would be clutch, and Kobe at times would have that Mamba mentality, but he didn't always have it, and we should stop pretending like he always did. The Mamba mentality, to me, references more of his work ethic and his passion and his dedication and commitment to the game of basketball. That I'll never take away from him. But when you sit there and say that he was always the alpha, and he never deferred, and he never made bad plays in the clutch, you're just lying to yourself. And it diminishes in some ways the reality of the greatness of Kobe as a basketball player. It's like somebody like me coming on here and pretending like Jordan made every clutch shot and big shot in the playoffs he ever took. He played well every single time in the playoffs. None of that is true. We shouldn't have to sit there and make stuff up. We should be able to be honest about their flaws and honest about their greatness at the same time. These guys are not gods. They are still human beings, even though they are the elite of all time on what they do. But when I look at LeBron James, all this talk about the right basketball situation and the right basketball decision, this is how effed up basketball has become. Instead of the best player in the game, who is 17 for 20 from the field, taking the last shot, we're saying the better basketball decision is to throw it out to a guy 24 feet away from the basket who has played like trash in the series and let him try and make the winning shot. Like, how dumb is that? That is astoundingly stupid of the highest order. No. The right call to make based on the situation and circumstances is LeBron James taking that last shot. I'm riding or dying with LeBron James, especially based off of the way he had been lighting that ass up in Game 5. Like, he was dominant. Like, this felt like this is going to be what you point as his defining moment in the NBA Finals, potentially. Even bigger than the block in Game 7 of 2016. Because this was something. And nothing. And to me, that shows the lack of offensive skill out of totality of LeBron James. Because to me, his whole mindset is I'm either getting to the bucket or I'm deferring, and more likely than not, I have no intention of making this shot because I'm scared of that searing heat of the spotlight in that moment. That's a situation where you isolate and you drive and pull up and take the mid-range jump shot. LeBron doesn't really have that in the game. If he can't play bully ball and if he can't just blow by people or run over people, he's in trouble. And it manifested itself here at the end of the game in Game 5. Now, I still expect the Lakers to win this series. And I expect potentially LeBron will come back and play better in a big spot in Game 6 if his team even needs it. But who knows at this point in time? Because while the Miami Heat are clearly an inferior team, and they are also shorthanded, mind you, now you've let them hang around. Now you let them get some confidence. They're looking at it and they're saying, 1 down, 2 to go. You never know what's going to happen. But the one thing I do know that should have happened is when you already have 40 points in the game and you have been dominant all night, you should be taking the last shot, period. Stop making lame excuses for LeBron James here. Stop sitting there and making the weak-ass defenses of them because they don't work and you can miss me with all that hot garbage. I want him. I don't care if he's single, double, triple team. You're supposed to be the icon. You're supposed to be the alpha. You're supposed to do that MFer. Then be that guy and take that shot. Have the courage to do so. Ride or die, whatever happens. But he didn't. He did what he so often does. He fed into his greatest strength, which is also his greatest weakness. It's that unselfishness, that willingness to get others involved, the wanting to get others as part of the game. Like, it's an admirable trait for LeBron. I think it's great that one of the all-time greats, similar to Magic and Bird, in some ways are defined by their unselfishness as much as they are their true killer game and their killer skill. Like, that's cool. But Bird, especially, and Magic as well, had that killer instinct. Especially once you get past the tragic Magic stuff in 84. They had that killer instinct. They knew there was a point in time that it wasn't appropriate, it wasn't okay to be unselfish anymore. They had to be the dude. They had to be the big man on campus. The head MFer in charge. And LeBron just doesn't consistently get that. Last night was a chance, an opportunity to lay so much of that to rest. And he didn't do that. And side note, for the idiots that sit there and talk about Jordan would never do what LeBron's doing at 35, a-holes. When Jordan was 35, he was league MVP, league leading scorer, all-star game MVP. He was first team All-NBA defense. And by the way, finals MVP, and he won his 6th NBA championship in 8 years. So irritating. Like, if you want to make arguments about LeBron being the GOAT, I suppose there are arguments to be made. But too many folks get caught up in the Nick Wright school of dumb fuckery, and they don't know what the hell they're talking about, and they can't present a good argument. And if you want to continue to persist in that argument after what you saw at the end of Game 5, then more power to you. You're just living in your own state of denial. LeBron's got to take that last shot. That is the right basketball play. The logical thing, get it to the open guy, does not always make sense, and especially based off of what was going on last night, that is actually very poor game awareness by one of the true icons of the game, LeBron James. Period.